Yeah, what's up, people? It is your boy MM2K of PNTS Network and Hard Knock Digital Culture. Yes, and I'm back. I know, back-to-back days. Can you believe this? We got a whole day filled with some cool content. I'm going to be doing some game streams later. Pretty much my game streaming schedule is going, because I got to finish these games. It's going to be between Baldur's Gate 3, Remnant 2, and Dead Island. I got to finish Dead Island before like Starfield and stuff comes out. So those are going to be the three games that we focus on. I'm probably like directly after this going to do some Baldur's Gate. I need to do my part 2 of my first look. So I'm likely going to do some Baldur's Gate. But with that said, man, welcome everybody to Hard Knock Digital Culture's NRO Mic Check. This is a show where I do like the one-off conversations about particular subject matters. And we're going to have some fun with this one because I'm going to do something a little different, something I normally don't do. And that is, we're going to take an article from Windows Central. I haven't read the article. I skimmed through a little bit of it, but I haven't read the article. And we're going to live react to it, because I think this is going to be important due to the fact that, yes, this ties in directly into yesterday's show. Yesterday's show, I was kind of like talking to my cloud gaming friends, because the day prior, I had put out a tweet, and our good buddy over at Cloud Dosage, my partner over at Cloud Dosage, Jack the Slip, he responded. And if you haven't been following me and Jack's take on, cloud game, well, not necessarily cloud gaming. I don't think we differ so much in wanting cloud gaming to grow. I think our approach to Xbox is totally different. So if you haven't been following it, and that's okay, that's fine. Like I said, I don't want Cloud Dosage, formerly Stadia Dosage, was never supposed to be just my brainchild. I just want, what I really wanted it to be was a collective of cloud enthusiasts, regardless of their takes, as long as they pivot from the facts. Like, that's the one thing that I tell Jack when we have our discussions. You know what I mean? You guys can disagree, agree with anything that you see out there, but we got to pivot from the facts. We don't want to speak matter of fact of things that aren't facts. And if we're giving our opinion or our take on something, we want to make it clear that that's our take. And I think the team has done an excellent job in holding that standard. And that even includes me. So Jack came out yesterday and responded to, not yesterday, a couple days ago, he had responded to something that I had said about Xbox at a wider scale. We had a little bit of fun going back and forth. I actually saw his tweet while I was live. I wasn't live. I was recording something because I knew I would have a whole bunch of appointments the following day. So I was recording something, and I was recording it directly into YouTube, but I was recording it private because I didn't want to have to upload it and all that other stuff. I said, I already got the thumbnail together. I'm just going to record it directly there, set a specific time where this thing is going to go live for the members. And I was almost done, and I was reading my a tweet of mine as like evidentiary fact towards something, and he had a comment there, and I read his comment, and I said, "Oh, this is interesting." So I had a little bit of fun with that, and we'll do that, and that's fine. It's entertaining. It shows you the different spectrums of the conversations that people will have in the community, and I think it's great. That being said, as a result of my friendly back and forth with Jack, some took the liberty. I think they didn't understand what was going on. This kind of happened before, where I had put something out and there was a different approach that Jack had in regards to it, had taken to it. And we, again, went back and forth on it. And I had a bunch of people hit me up afterwards, and they were like, man, what's going on? You guys okay? And I said, no, we foster debate. And I said, we vigorously disagree on some things, but we understand. I feel we both understand that these are debates over subjectivity, what I like versus what I don't like. And we're going to debate our subjective importance of XYZ thing. You know what I mean? None of this is etched in stone. Nobody knows the future. I mean, I do have on my side predictions of XYZ things happening with the Xbox brand and them coming to fruition. Those help me out in the debate, where I think Jack is taking a more centralized scope on, hey, I'm enjoying the platform. Others enjoy it. Let's leave it at that. And my argument is that's void of the bigger conversation that's been happening before you even put your hands on this ecosystem. There's people that made this ecosystem what it is today, as far as it being able to exist and survive, who made investments based off of promises. And they're still dedicated to the platform, but they're under the idea that specific things are going to turn around. And the argument for many of us is, no, you're being taken for a ride. These things are not going to turn around. And honestly, shame on you, Xbox, for telling these people this. Because the way I look at it is, it's their product. They can do whatever they want with it in an honest fashion. Like if they wanted to just do indie games and sell fizzle, chisel, tizzle popper and get out of the AAA market altogether, that's for them to do. It's their product. That's not the problem. Again, Nintendo really it was really the 1-2 combo of the Nintendo GameCube and the OG Xbox that brought me back into gaming. I was done with gaming. It was actually the GameCube. I really liked the GameCube more than I liked the OG Xbox. I liked the curated games that Nintendo had brought. I had liked the little technical fancy thing of having your Game Boy Advance and using your Game Boy Advance as a controller. I think for games like Final Fantasy Chronicles and stuff like that. I thought that implementation was dope. I loved Metroid Prime, and so forth. So my favorite console at the beginning or during that time frame of the 6th generation was the GameCube. Here's what happened. The GameCube, as far as the multi-plat games, started to fall behind, I think simply because the control mechanism the controller couldn't stand the test of time with these new games coming out. They didn't have L3, R3 functionality. They didn't have enough buttons, you know what I mean, to where, PlayStation and Xbox had, all the buttons on their gamepads and every single one was being utilized. And because GameCube didn't have the same amount of buttons, as silly as it sounds, it made it difficult to control games on the platform. I think that was a huge part of the demise on why I didn't pick up. Because these in prior generations, exclusive games were everything, but I think starting with the 6th generation, you started having multi-plats. Like the idea of games becoming more and more multi-plat was starting to become the norm. It really became the norm in the 7th generation with the 360 and the PlayStation 3, but it was starting to happen there, and the GameCube couldn't keep up. But I brought all that up to say this: when GameCube decided, or when Nintendo decided, look, we're out of the AAA gaming market, the AAA console gaming market, and we're going to do our own thing, they weren't deceitful about that. They didn't say, look, we have so many AAA gamers that we don't want to lose, So we're going to keep promising them, oh, well, we're going to try this with they didn't try to sell the Nintendo Wii as a hardcore gaming platform. It was a casual gaming platform that had hardcore gaming software, on it here and there, but it was a casual gaming platform. And they were forefront honest with that. They were honest with that at the forefront. I feel like Xbox is doing the same thing in the cogs. They're changing the wire, they're changing what they're doing to fit more of a casual, non-genre defining approach, which is okay. But because they know that they got these swath of gamers that are waiting for them to get back to the Gears, Halo, Mass Effect, BioShock glory days, they keep selling them these pipe dreams. World's most powerful console. The velocity architecture. They keep, hitting them with all these buzzwords that tantalize that group. But it never comes to fruition. And Microsoft has some of the best engineers in the world. There has to come a point to when, and this is our argument, there has to come a point to where a lot of it is incompetence, but most of it is just overselling, purposefully overselling. They're going to tell you something that's going to happen that they know is going to grab your attention, and they'll develop to that the best way that they can with no full head-on expectation of ever reaching it. We'll develop to that said expectation to the best of our ability. Kind of reminds me of somebody I worked with where we had a client and the client wanted certain reporting, and this was specialized reporting, and we didn't provide it. But we knew if we said, oh, yeah, we can do that easily, we would obtain the client just like that. And it was a big client. It was a big client that we wanted to take from a rival. So our sales team lied. They essentially lied and told this client, yeah, we can do that reporting. So my team was responsible for developing the reporting. And so I'm talking to my boss. No, he's pissed. He calls me in his office and I'm talking to my boss about it. He's like, you'll never believe what the sales team did. And he's breaking it down. He said, why would they? And I said, well, the guy's name. And I said, that's what he does all the time. You know what I mean? And I end up having to take my team of nerds and geeks. This particular part of my team, they weren't client facing. So they didn't even own suits. So we had to buy them suits, take them out there. And then we had to explain to this company in a way that, hey, we can't give you exactly that, but here's what we can feasibly work towards, which I think will be satisfactory. And we end up doing it. So we end up saving the business based on that lie. Because normally, you lie to someone like that, they're going to walk away. I kind of feel like that's what Xbox is doing. They're like, because when I talked to that sales rep and I said, we don't do that reporting. And he said, well, you should. Just like, you know what I mean? So make it happen. That was his thing. And I'm like, dude, you're nuts. I think that's what Xbox does. They know that they have various shortcomings in the AAA side, and to make sure that their core gamer base that have been sitting around for 10 years waiting for stuff to happen, to ensure that they don't leave. I think what they do is you're gonna start playing the game and gold bars are gonna shoot out of the side of the console, right? With no planning, no real expectation that's gonna happen. And what ends up happening is the expectation is set verbally before it's worked on transactionally. And then what ends up happening is someone just goes back to Redmond and they say, oh God, we just promised that gold bars would start shooting out of the Xbox if you played it for 10 hours a week. Can we make this? Can we actually make this happen? Then they go into brainstorming and actually game planning and to see how close they can get to that expectation. I wouldn't say it's exactly like that. I'm over dramatizing, but but clearly Xbox talks about things that are in flight before they fully vet it to see if it's possible. And that's why more things than not often land nowhere near the expectations that they set themselves. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. There's people that came in via cloud gaming with Xbox in 2019. And if you're coming in via cloud, if you're coming in through that tunnel, that very small tunnel where it's, you know, a little murky, and you know, you smell mildew and musk everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little small tunnel that you're coming through, and then all of a sudden, if the mud is no longer, if you're coming to a spot in the tunnel where there's no longer mud and insects falling on your face, and it's, you know, it's a little bit smoothed out, that might be cool for you. So what I'm saying is, if you're a cloud gamer that, you know, dealt with some of the limitations that cloud gaming has right now, yeah, what Xbox is doing is an upgrade. What Xbox is doing overall in their ecosystem is an upgrade. The Xbox Series console is great. What are you talking about? This is, you don't understand. I came in here through a musky, centipede infested tunnel. This is fantastic. There's a fridge here with food. You know, at the end of this tunnel, meanwhile, the food is 5 days expired. You know what I'm saying? And there's no running water, but that's, again, it all depends upon how you got here. And the people that got here, they weren't part of the overall mainstream gaming discussion and interactions. So there are things that are a luxury to you, new gamer, that you haven't been exposed to, or you haven't been part of that culture, that have become elementary and just normal expectations of mainstream gamers that have been doing this for decades. So that's why I often argue to them, and I was doing that yesterday, there's nothing wrong with you celebrating the upgrade to you. But that upgrade to you is a downgrade for the majority of gamers. It's just the way that it is. So, like I mean, I can't you got to get in where you fit in. Sometimes your expectations and your scopes and the things that you cherish and consider great and upgrade are not an upgrade to everybody. And that's okay. It doesn't make your likes for something any less. It's just everything belongs in its own separate bucket. You can't mix everything together like jambalaya. You can't do it. There are discussions that people that came in through those murky tunnels the way that you did. They can relate to those discussions, to where our discussions are at a more granular, deeper level over the entire history of gaming. And you won't be able to relate to those, and they can't relate to your conversations. It doesn't make the conversations over here any less than the conversations over there. So that was my message yesterday. In lieu of that, but before that, what prompted me to get that message is in lieu of the cordial back and forth that me and Jack had. I did have some people reach out and, oh, is everything okay? Well, this is what I think, man. And, you know, people's like, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, because again, they didn't get it. It's split down the middle. The people that came into this from a more granular level, more often than not, understand. They are familiarized with the discussions. They understand what I'm talking about. They're like, okay, you're providing your perspective to this overall discussion. And unfortunately, because Microsoft is the one that went from hero to zero, and people are looking down at them like, man, when are you guys going to meet these litmuses? When you guys are going to perform to standard on a granular level, not providing 5-year-old chicken and cheese sandwiches to people trapped in tunnels. If that's great for them, that's great for them. We're talking about for the elite AAA genre defining high-end gamer who ain't eating no 5-day-old sandwich. When are you going to finally get back to a status where you show and prove for them? That's part of the main discussion. And that's a discussion that I'm not just having. Now, again, if you're coming through that tunnel and I'm the first thing you see when you come out of the tunnel, you may think, you possibly could think that all these conversations lie and rest on me. I wish my 130 views per video on YouTube. I wish that was the pinnacle. I wish we was raking it up. Instead of 130, it was 130,000. No, I'm a small sample within the greater discussion. And I had to show, again, those people that came in through those tunnels that I'm reacting to, again, people with 20, 30, 100,000 viewers. There is a bigger discussion happening that you just coming out of that small tunnel, you have no idea of. And if you want your experience while being, and again, your experience from coming in that tunnel may be something that is useful. It's a different perspective that might add overall to gaming, but it's going to add to it. It's not going to supersede or overtake gaming. It's going to have to add to it. And it can't add if you can't relate to the majority of gamers at all right now, or even understand how to speak to them, or even how to get them to listen to you. You got to understand what's going on at a granular level. Doesn't mean you got to agree with it, but you got to at least understand. So we had that discussion yesterday. And we had it quick. I didn't get a chance to go over everything that I wanted to talk about. Yo, Sean in the house. But now we have a situation where it's like elementary. I say something, people who don't understand the bigger picture here, they'll start slowly but surely reacting to it. And then, these mantras, well, you're doing this for this. Like how many times I've had people say to me, you're doing this to get on the PlayStation people's side. And that's absurd. Like anybody that's part of mainstream gaming that A, knows my history and my background, and B, knows how you gain the trust of the PlayStation side, knows that me just supporting cloud gaming and actually playing on it is a no-no. The bridge is closed. The PlayStation community is so against cloud gaming. It's unbelievable. And they're against it because their theory is, which is not my theory, that PlayStation games must remain on PlayStation consoles. Or PlayStation hardware, Sony hardware. If it's not on Sony hardware, it shouldn't be playable there. And so the PlayStation community hates seeing their games on PC. And that sentiment is so profound. I think that's why you start seeing PlayStation have these PlayStation pull back a little bit, where they don't put their PC games day and date, where they don't do day and date, at least just far as access is concerned. I'm not talking about the subscription service, but access to cloud. where they haven't originally done day and date access to cloud. And it seems like in order for you to do it, you got to do it via the hardware anyway, which kind of negates a lot of the purpose. And it's silly to me. But the reason why they're doing that is because those people that I showed you yesterday, y'all, for those of you that have come into this from that smaller tunnel that I referenced to, they're not listening to you. Let me be very clear. Let me just be frank. Those people that I showed you yesterday, I've podcasted with them before. A lot of them I talk to on a damn well every day. I've reached out to some of them and said, hey, look, and these are the Xbox people. I've reached out to some of them and said, look, Xbox has a real deep pride and true community within the cloud gaming community. Why don't you come and talk to them? You know what I mean? Like I got a whole team over at Cloud Dosage. None of them agree with me as far as Xbox. They all, indulge in the platform and like what they're doing. And, some may want to see better more than others, but they all, they have way more appreciation for xCloud and the whole Xbox ecosystem way more than I do. And they would love to hear from you guys. You know what I'm saying? And those people said, okay, at first. And then when we followed up, they were like, you know what? No. Now that we think about it, no. We don't want to do it. Why not? Because, man, Xbox just doesn't. There is Xbox's approach to cloud community. They don't care. Let's pull the scab off. Let's just keep it a buck. They don't care. Cloud for them at this moment is a platform that is being used to add to their mainstream gamers playing experience. That is their console gamer and their PC gamer experience. Or for those that they want to appeal to PC gamers, to console gamers, and mobile gamers. And because you're a cloud gamer that plays on your phone, you're not necessarily a mobile gamer. But what cloud gaming does is it can present an olive branch to mobile gamers. So if you guys were sitting there playing Grand Fantasy Blue or whatever mobile games are on Gplay, if that was part of this community's experience, then they would indulge you. But being that you're just focused on the cloud and you play on your phones on the cloud, they have no appetite for you. I'm serious. And these people know who there's people that I've been working with behind the scenes to make this happen. We were there. I've had sent the communications out and they said no. They came back and they said no. Now, I'm not saying that to get you to like the platform less or whatever. I'm just letting you know where their stance is with cloud gaming as a community. They don't care. They have no appetite for it. None. There is no cloud gaming. Okay, like all these other platforms, Luna, Stadia, when they're around, NVIDIA GeForce Now, Boosteroid. All these platforms have cloud gaming representatives that talk to the community. Who is the cloud gaming representative for Xbox that talks to the Xbox community? All of these cloud shadow, all of these cloud platforms have ambassador programs or things like that. Who is the ambassador for the xCloud experience? Okay. Enough said. So what I'm saying is, if you are an xCloud gamer primarily, or you really love the platform and you really want that to be your main way to game, you're better suited understanding the bigger conversations, because right now cloud gaming solely is not part of the bigger conversation. It's not even part of the bigger concern. They will incrementally do things or make upgrades, add games that will benefit cloud gamers, but is that a goal of theirs? No, it just happens by attrition, or a better word would be it just happens. Yeah, okay. So we added Grand Theft Auto back to Game Pass, and now we have cloud gaming access. The purpose isn't to say, oh, cloud gamers are really going to enjoy this. Let's see how well Grand Theft Auto 6 works on the cloud now. Let's add it back. Let's see it. And then let's also add cloud. That's literally their approach to this. They have no desire to address, even acknowledge the cloud gaming community. Period. And you can sit there and say to yourself, oh, I don't believe that or whatever. The proof is in the pudding. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say who, but of the names that I showed you yesterday, who are great friends of mine, we extended the olive branch. They were going to do it. And then they said, you know what? Nah. Well, why not? Look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd be playing with their emotions if I came. Xbox, these are people that meet Xbox. These are people that were there at the Redfall event. These are people that talk to Xbox regularly. They're the ones that get the first-hand information on a lot of stuff. They have no reason to lie. Look, man, the platform just isn't. They don't see that community of any relevance. They just don't, as far as talking to them or addressing them directly. They don't. Okay. Now, if I were to invite those same people on the show, look, man, I want to debate you. Xbox versus PlayStation, why Xbox sucks. They would be here tomorrow. They would literally be here tomorrow. If I brought them on Hard Knock Digital Culture and said, yeah, this one, I want to debate you on this little platform of what it is right now, they would come here tomorrow. I've had invites. I was going live one day, and one of the biggest influencers of who I showed you was begging me to go live. Why did they want to go live though? Because when this was Stadia dosage, they wanted to go live and debate me about why Stadia sucked. And why would they take the time to do that? Because that was on Xbox's agenda, slaughtering Stadia. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted to come on, get their chops wet, and tell you, the Stadia fan, why they felt like Stadia sucked. Because that was something that was important to Xbox. I know it's a lot to digest, but it's the truth. And listen to me. Listen. Look at your screen, or just listen. Put your ear to the mic. If you think I'm BSing you, who is the Xbox Cloud ambassador? Amazon has an ambassador for Luna. They deal with other stuff. NVIDIA, they have ambassador contacts for GeForce Now. They deal with other stuff. Shadow have ambassadors for their stuff. Boosteroid has you name it, there's an ambassador or contact for the people for their cloud efforts. Where's Xboxes? They know there's a cloud community. Oh, it's in beta. Stop the foolery. It's a paid for service. Well, PlayStation doesn't either. Again, yeah, of course, yeah. I'm not denying that PlayStation definitely is not invested in having a cloud representative at the moment. They could possibly be placed Xbox to the punch. I don't know, but not right now. Why? Because they're focused on their bigger and broader mainstream clientele who don't want day and date access to PlayStation games available except on Sony hardware. To me, I think it's silly and foolish. I've broken down the numbers to where, not in the subscription service, but a la carte purchases that are available in the cloud or PC day one would actually benefit Sony and their gamers. I've said so. Now, I said there are some concerns I get where PC is concerned or where cloud is concerned, where trying to do those simultaneous launches and exert resources to, like, say if there's day one issues on the console, cloud, and PC, if you got to split your resources up to deal with all three, the slower it's going to become on everything. So maybe it isn't a bad idea to stagger the launch. But if you have the capabilities to launch and support simultaneously, go ahead and do it. But that's not what PlayStation is doing. PlayStation is just simply, like, they're not staggering because of support. They are staggering because they know that the reputational risks with their clientele and the community out here on social media would be too grand if they were to try to do day and date launches or anything like under maybe 6 months, even if they had the support. So they're not doing it. That's why we see this whole silly thing of them being you being able to stream 4K, but to your PlayStation only. That's why I tell you guys that came in through that tunnel, you got to understand the bigger conversations and why. You don't have to agree with them, but understand why. And if you came in through that murky tunnel with the insects dropping on the side of your face and your earlobes and your nape, just because you got out from that tunnel and you found the old fridge that was abandoned in a warehouse with 5-day-old sandwiches, and that is an upgrade for you, you got to understand, for the bigger community, this stuff that you're saying, oh, it's not a big deal, it's not a problem, Redfall is okay, you know, the failures of the velocity architecture, who cares? We don't need that. For those of you that are saying that, there are people that made investments based upon those expectations. And this is a downgrade for them. And this is a downgrade not just for PlayStation haters, because a lot, not all, let's keep it real, a lot of PlayStation, or not PlayStation haters, Xbox haters, a lot of Xbox deterrents out there used to be Xbox enthusiasts, myself included. So I get whatever's an upgrade for y'all, I get it. But it's not an upgrade to the general gamer. It's a downgrade. I mean, so what if when you go to melee someone in Redfall, they fly like a Lego character 50 feet in the air? They don't even notice you. Who cares? It's still fun. I shot stuff and it exploded and died. That's an upgrade for you. It's a downgrade for them. It's two totally different litmuses or two totally different demos. I'm not saying one demo is less important than the other. I really do think that demo that did come in from the tunnels, I think they have the fact that they were able to find the tunnel, right? And the fact that they were willing to journey through that tunnel means that they don't need to follow the crowd. They're their own leaders and they're just going to access stuff through any means necessary. That's key, because you're going to need people that have that type of ingenuity when you're trying to push things into the future. The cloud community is what's going to shape cloud gaming and make it the platform of the future. It is us, those that are enthusiasts of cloud gaming. However, I have a hybrid mentality, because I don't just focus on whatever makes cloud gaming more accessible or adds to cloud gaming. I'm balancing that into what's being built upon gaming with a capital G overall. So as much as I want to see cloud gaming flourish, that has to be balanced too. At the end of the day, we still need great games. We need nuanced, great experiences. We still need great genre-defining AAA games. And those aren't the only games that we need. There are people to shout out to the homie Ninja Guy X. He was part of our crew on Cloud Dosage for a while. He does a lot of great content. He's a hell of a gamer, big time gamer. You know what I'm saying? And he plays everything. He loves indie games. He loves AAA games. He plays it all. Someone like him who focuses on indie games, and for a while he was focusing on Netflix games, but he's taking a step back. There is a demo for that. Me saying that I like AAA genre defining games doesn't mean that what Ninja Guy X is doing is any less important. He's servicing another demo and helping them get exposed to the games that will bring excitement to them. So I'm not saying one is less, you know what I mean, than the other. You just got to understand there are different demos that are to be respected for different reasons. And what is an upgrade to you based upon the limitations of how you entered in here, for people that have dealt with those limitations years ago, it's a downgrade. So yes, velocity architecture not reaching its expectations is a problem. Cloud gaming being 4K on what's it called first on PlayStation opposed to xCloud first is a problem, because there are gamers who maybe do want to be rid of the console. You got to understand, during the Xbox One generation, Xbox saw a lot of traction for a moment with their UWP implementation. That was where it was going to be universal, where you buy a game for console, it would be the same for PC. And I got a lot of backlash. So it was the play anywhere theory. And that brought a lot of people to Xbox. Oh, wow, I can, play this it'll be a single SKU, or it'll be, well, not necessarily a single SKU, but it'll be transferable everywhere on anywhere this game is at. That sold a lot of people on Xbox. There were a lot of people that were not paying attention to Xbox, kind of dismayed at what was going on with PlayStation, wasn't too sure on Xbox. Then they heard that, the play anywhere, and they were like, oh man, okay, I'm sold. I'm investing in Xbox now. I'm not going to invest in PC, because if I invest in PC, it may not necessarily be UWP. Let me get an Xbox first. Let me ride it out with them, because eventually whatever I buy on Xbox is going to come to PC anyway. Right? It's going to be playable on PC. Anywho. So people have invested because of that whole UWP integration, or promise of that integration. Then UWP was killed. And that wasn't necessarily Xbox's. Well, it didn't have everything. It wasn't their most negligent failure. They got a lot of pushback from people like Tim Sweeney and in the development world, and it couldn't make its way through. And that was a bummer. That was a bummer to a lot of gamers, right? But then now you have cloud gaming and then Game Pass, right? That's kind of filling in that void. So you have a lot of people that say, okay, well, these games are going to be in PC Game Pass. That's cool. But maybe I just want, now, maybe I just don't want to play it natively. Maybe I want to play it everywhere now. It's going to be available on the TV. I want to play it on the TV. Let's go. And there's disappointment where, okay, Game Pass on PC is cool. It's kind of filling that void of UWP. But I got to then buy these parts natively, and PC gaming is a lot more expensive now than it was back then when UWP was first introduced. It's a lot more complicated. So now this cloud gaming thing could be the remedy. All right, let's go. Bring that 4K. Bring that zero latency or whatever it is that you guys are doing to address it. And then to see everybody else leapfrog Xbox and the performance and the viability of the platform. Again, if you come through that small tunnel, it's simply fine for you. It's okay. But if you are a mainstream gamer and the things that are fine for those coming out of the tunnel have been considered stale and old years ago, it's a downgrade. Because the way Xbox talked about this, they talked about this at a grand scale. And now I see not just Stadia, but GFN and hell. I don't think this is, me personally, I don't think this is up for debate. Amazon Luna at 1080p destroys xCloud. They just don't have the games. xCloud has the better games. Luna still has way better performance. Way better performance. And it's a lot more reliable because I can play it on my PC. I can play it on the browser. I can play it on the dongle. Boom. And a lot better. So everything except for PlayStation, as far as I'm concerned, plays better than xCloud. Because PlayStation Plus right now is capped at 1080p 1080-30, or at least xCloud is 1080-60. But now with this new beta, they're about to surpass them here. So that was the discussion yesterday, is understanding there's nothing wrong with you liking what you like, but you can't paint your likes as a broad brush for everybody. Like, I can't go to Ninja Guy X and say, dude, why are you talking about these Netflix games and these indie games? Like, bro, AAA games is where it's at, and that's it. Ninja Guy X then can reasonably turn to me and say, dude, you're crazy. Why? Because I'm not paying $70 for a game that I can beat in 10 hours and it's done with, and I gotta wait several months and then the game has to be patched because it doesn't play right. Here within this indie game, I've been playing this indie game, that indie game for 50, 60 hours. I get a much more bang for my buck. Aesthetically, does your game look prettier? Okay, yeah, fine. But I'm getting a lot more intuitive gameplay out of this title. I say, oh, well, you got a point, and I can just walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like, what we cover here in Hard Knock Digital Culture doesn't supersede or overwrite what he's doing. When you're a gamer, you got to respect and understand all this. And you got to understand the bigger conversations and the smaller ones. And we're about to show you the bigger conversations. With that said, we're going to take a quick break. Just a 2-minute, really a 1-minute break. And we're going to be right back. Well, no, it's going to be more than 1 minute. Let's make it 5 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Go back to our video. All right. So I babbled on long enough about our discussion yesterday. I just wanted to add a little bit more context to it because I had to kind of like rush through it. Let's go to our comments. Oh, hold on. I felt the sneeze coming on. Cold Blood Sensei says, talk about Sony delaying first party games from this fiscal year. I don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, their fiscal year ends in March of 2024. So does that mean that, because the only games we knew about are Helldivers and well, that's not first party, right? Yeah. So all we have for first party is Spider-Man. I hope Spider-Man ain't getting delayed. I don't think Spider-Man's getting delayed. So there must have been a game, Cold Blood, that was coming early 2024 that they're delaying to maybe, I don't know, May. I mean, it could be a game that was, you know, coming in March of 2024, and they were looking at, well, you know what? Maybe this game is better suited September of 2024. And just the pushback of those few months, take it out of one fiscal year and put it in another fiscal year. The fiscal years and the calendar years are different. So I don't know what that means. I mean, being that we don't know about any other games besides Spider-Man coming this calendar year, I mean, I think that would be a big L if Spider-Man gets pushed back. Oh God. Yeah, that would, oh man, especially if Starfield, and when I say L, I'm talking competitively. You know what I mean? For all of those that are like, you know, oh yeah, you know, PlayStation kills it, you know, they're only one giving the competition out. If Starfield kills it, and then PlayStation pushes back Spider-Man, oh, that's an L. I don't care how good Baldur's Gate does. And I hope that's not the, let me put it like this. PlayStation, the PlayStation that you see now is a result of the PlayStation from 2019. What am I talking about? PlayStation 2019 was on the heels of the best year PlayStation had witnessed ever in 2018 with Spider-Man and God of War releasing. And then in the following year, 2019, Days Gone and Death Stranding were the two big PlayStation games, and they didn't land as well. And they, you know, because of how high the bar was set in 2018, when the fiscal year comparisons came for the time period 2019 were to fit in, it made PlayStation look bad. See, that's the one thing I always tell y'all, so y'all make sure that y'all understand the business side of this. The reason why all this stuff matters, even though these companies are making billions of dollars, people say, oh, well, Microsoft is still making $15 billion. If back in 2018, they made $16 billion, but in 2023, they're making $15 billion, that's a problem. And that's a bigger problem when their peers are gaining money. When your peers, and this is elementary with any business sector, when your peers have earned more money, all your peers around you have earned more money, but you're tracking down. Like, it would be different if you made less money than you did in 2018, and so did everybody else. That would be different. It would even be different if you were the only one to make less money in 2018, but everybody went down. You just were hit the hardest. That would still be different. That's still excusable. But for you to make less money than you did 5 years ago, and you're trajecting down when everybody else is trajecting up, that's a problem. And people are like, well, MM2K, why do you keep bringing up Microsoft problems? Why do you keep bringing them up? Because they can't continue to trend and track and have these problems and then not lead to any breakthrough anywhere. They've been loss leading and doing certain things that they know would suck up money in the hopes that in a reasonable amount of time, XYZ would happen. And if you got Game Pass, you got PC Game Pass, you bought Bethesda for $8 billion. You bought even before you bought Bethesda, you had more studios than PlayStation. Now you got way more studios than PlayStation. Now you're about to have more studios than PlayStation. When are you going to do more than PlayStation? Because that is your narrative. That is your comparative competitor. You can say all you want to analysts and say, look, our true competitor is Google and Amazon. Google and Amazon are hardly in the gaming game. You don't get to set who your competitors are. The market does. The market sees your competitors right now, market-wise, as PlayStation and Nintendo. Now, strategically, your end goal competitors may be Google and Amazon, but that's not the way the market sees it. So you could predict, well, we're doing this because in 2035 we want to do this. You got to get to 2024 first. You can't keep losing money in 2024, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and talk about what you're going to do in 2035. You might not make it there. So why do I keep bringing up all these failures with Microsoft and Xbox in regards to Xbox rather? Because Microsoft is killing it elsewhere. Why do I keep bringing up these failures with Xbox? Because it's going to lead to things changing. That's the overall narrative here. All these things that you were promised years ago that they told you was coming and that you're still sitting by waiting for, they're not going to happen. Why aren't they going to happen? Because even though they're willing to loss lead, they're willing to loss lead for some light at the tunnel. If the more and more you loss lead, you are not hit. Like when you go and loss lead, there's a strategy behind it. The strategy is we're going to lose. Okay, let me give you a prime example. Disney Plus. Disney Plus had said, you know what, we're going to lose $1 billion up until what did they say, 2025 or something like that? Then in 2025, we're going to gain that $1 billion back just in 1 year. So we're going to loss lead. We're going to have these subs real low. We're going to lose money on it because the production is going to be so high and the subscription prices aren't going to cover what we're putting in, but we're going to do that. And we're going to lose $1 billion over that process. But in 2025, or it might have been 2023, all the way up until this year. Hence why you're probably seeing all these changes now with them in Hulu, with Disney Plus and Hulu. I think it was like, we're going to loss lead up until 2023. We're going to lose $1 billion. Then in 2024, we're going to gain it all back just in 1 year, right? And what ended up happening was they gained it back in 2021, I think it was, or 2020, you know what I'm saying? So they made it back years early. That's how much Disney Plus was killing it, right? But then they started having bad years, or a bad year, particularly a bad year. Like the fiscal year that started in 2022 and bleeds into 2023 has been atrocious for them. So now that light at the end of the tunnel, you were there and then you got zapped all the way back. So all those things that you were promising, something's going to have to get retracted. Prices are going to go up sooner. The things that you invested in for early Oh yeah, man. I like what you're saying. I like your talk Xbox, or I like your talk Disney Plus. Yeah, let me invest in this now. Let me get grandfathered into this now. That's what a lot of people do. I'm gonna buy into this ecosystem now while it's, underpriced. So when things shoot up and it's overpriced, I'm already invested. I'm already involved. I can get grandfathered into this service. That's why I refuse to let my Amazon Luna subscription lapse. Let me give you a prime example. I still feel that once Amazon Luna gets working on all full cylinders, they have a very high potential of leading this whole cloud gaming thing. Now, Xbox has done a significant increase in their saturation due to Fortnite. But I feel like once Amazon starts working on all four cylinders, they start making deals with publishers and start getting more channels, start getting more premier games on the platform. Luna Plus improves, and then you add in that integration with them in Twitch. I feel like that Amazon Luna could be the top dog in the cloud. But I rarely use it now. But what I do, I'm grandfathered into that. I'm getting a super cheap subscription service. So when Luna Plus goes up, your mine may go up too incrementally though. See, a lot of hardcore gamers like myself, they do that. They feel like, okay, I'm gonna get into the Xbox Series X or the Xbox One X, because we were told when we bought our Xbox One X, we were told, oh no, this console is going to be this console is going to be a major factor within our family, within our ecosystem for years. And it's already become obsolete. Like the Xbox One X was supposed to be so powerful that it was going to be a reliable console for years into the future. So a lot of us started trading in, getting, there was all these special deals. And I think out of my pocket, I only spent like $80 to get my Xbox One X. So I invested into the ecosystem then. I invested $8, traded in some stuff, and got my Xbox One X, thinking that, it would still be a fundamental console for the platform, for the ecosystem, and I'm talking about current games. I'm not talking about just last gen games. The way that Microsoft was talking about their consoles, they were making it sound like that, okay, our consoles were going to be like pre-built PCs, right? Like if you get a pre-built PC, the day, if you get a top of the line pre-built PC, the day that you buy it, it can play all those games at tip top shape. But as the years progress, maybe you're not going to be able to play in 4K high. You're going to have to take it to 4K medium. Then you're going to have to take it to 1440p maybe high or whatever. But you're still going to be playing the current game just at lower settings. That's the way that they were talking. Those were the conversations that were being had with Xbox. That's the stuff that Xbox, when people were on podcasts and stuff like that, those are the promises that I'm talking about that nobody talks about anymore. But those were the promises and the innuendo that was being cascaded from Xbox, and all of the content creators that they supported and patted on the head. That was the stuff that was being, sold to the consumer. So when I got my Xbox One X, I thought that, okay, if I'm still an Xbox gamer, all right, maybe I don't play at 4K. Maybe I don't play Starfield at 4K 60. Maybe I got to play it at 1080p 60. That's okay. That's cool. But I'll be able to play it at 1080p 60. That's how it was advertised to me. But because of them not reaching benchmarks when they made those promises, they had to change it. Or not necessarily they had to, but they changed it. So now my Xbox One X is obsolete. Wow. And what I'm saying is, things happen with every company. Every company has made a claim or two, wanted to do something, and they fell short of that claim, and they had to reboot and change some things. That not a problem when it happens on occasion. Xbox, it happens the majority of the time. The majority of the time when you're told about a technical implementation or their roadmap of what they want to do, they always divert from it. It hardly happens the way that they say it does. I want to say like 80% of the time. 80% of the stuff that you're told that they want to do never lands the way that they say it does. And I'm not saying it has to be exactly. You're going to tweak some things here and there, but it's totally opposite of what they say they're going to do. Cloud gaming is an example, but I've talked about them so much, cloud gaming. I don't want to go there again, but just look at the whole Keystone, and 4K was coming in 2020 and a la carte games. I don't even want to go there. But I'm talking about the broader mainstream gaming side of things. There were so many things that have been sold to us over the years that entice people to invest in the ecosystem that they haven't followed through on. And what we're merely doing is, for the sake of the consumer, we're tracking all that. We're tracking all that until they do better. Once they do better, that's great. That's better for all of us. I wish they were doing better. We want them to do better. We need them, really, we need them to do better. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. I'm still here. I'm just responding to something. Hold on, I'm doing something real quick. I was just responding to my brother. Hold on 1 second. And let me see. Come on. Stop it. Now, I was responding to my good brother, Stadia Lunatic. He was great guy, great, creator. And like I said, a lot of us that were Stadia fans, we've had to divert to different things. And I think he's enjoying what Xbox's offering is now, because a lot of people were dependent upon the convenience of Stadia, even though it may have not had all the bells and whistles that mainstream gamers were used to do via console, which I think is okay. It did a lot, and for gamers that needed that convenience, xCloud may not be as good as Stadia, but it's filling the void the best way more than anybody. The only alternative for them would be to not game anymore. So that's why I said I totally get why there is a support for xCloud in the cloud gaming community. And that's why, I get it, and I can sympathize and understand people's individual situations. It doesn't necessarily that I still gotta like the product, and I just don't like it. So that's why, and my focus has been on, look, I think cloud gaming can really propel gaming into the next stratosphere. I think it can really, it can show you two things. A, we can perform just as good as you can on what's it called? All you got to do is give us the games. People say, well, what if your internet cuts out? All these damn games that you're playing now, the overwhelming majority of them, you're using internet access to play them anyway. When that internet shuts down, when you can't go online, guess what? You're not playing any game. Most of the games in the library you can't play. You're not really playing any games anyway. Oh, damn, I can't. How many people have said, you know what? My internet went out, but yet I'm so glad I was still able to play my non-DRM game that I have. Nobody has non-DRM games in their library anymore, particularly when it comes to console gaming. That's a PC gaming thing, right? Like all these games now have some form of DRM to them, where the majority of them you can't even play, or the ones that you can play you don't even want to bother with. So damn, Xbox Live is down, damn, PlayStation Plus is down, I couldn't play any games. That's what you hear. So yeah, the whole bullpucky about the internet. It's back when Stadia released, they said in order to play a smooth game of Stadia, all you needed was the same amount of internet usage that it takes to play a smooth game of Fortnite. That was 4 years ago. We are way past that point now. So I was talking so again, the way I look at cloud gaming post Stadia is, look, man, it's important to continue to show where cloud gaming can enhance your gaming experience, because I get that we need the mainstream gamers. That's why my focus has shifted to platforms like NVIDIA GeForce Now. NVIDIA GeForce Now doesn't just give you somewhere else you can play. It gives you somewhere else you can play that's actually better in many regards. I get that cloud gaming in general doesn't give you downloads. You know what I'm saying? It is void of patches. But that's not heavy enough for gamers, for the average gamer. The average gamer doesn't hear that and say, ding, 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 ding. They got to get it in their hands, and most of them have been so brainwashed they won't even touch it. What gives gamers more successfully to jump into the realm of cloud gaming is performance. If I can tell a gamer, look, you pick up Baldur's Gate, I'm gonna pick up Baldur's Gate. You do realize that Baldur's Gate's gonna play better for me than it is for you, and you're playing it natively. What are you talking about? You're full of BS, man. What are you talking about? No, I'm not. I'm playing it on NVIDIA GeForce Now. Through all their AI and machine learning technology, I can play it at 4K, 120 frames per second, ultimate settings. You can't even get nowhere near that. Like Remnant, I'm playing at 4K, ultra settings. I'm getting 80 frames per second, anywhere between 60 to 80 frames per second. You can't do that on console right now. You can't. So when I show them the things that really matters to mainstream gamers, Oh yeah, that Cyberpunk Overdrive mode that you can't play on console because the ray tracing is too intense. I can play it on NVIDIA GeForce Now. Check it out. Do you want to know how many people I had hitting me up? Hey, yo, Mars, yo, give me a code, man. I heard you talking about the code for the NVIDIA GeForce Now, man. Ultimate. I want to try that Overdrive mode. Do you know how many people hit me up? It was ridiculous. That when it comes to cloud gaming for me, I can appreciate the convenience argument, but I think the performance argument, the offering, like what got me, and Cold Blood, he doesn't agree with anything I'm saying right now, but he understands, but he knows why. I won't say he understands, but he knows why I went to Stadia, is I just bought a brand new 2070 PC. 2070s were fresh on the market. Maybe 2070s were like 3 months old. I bought it. Went to go play Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And that mug, I couldn't even get 60 frames per second at 1080p. I was sick. On the brink of tears. Cold Blood will tell you, what was that, Cold Blood? That was like what? That was 4 years ago. I was on the break. Oh man, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. That's when I was going hard. Cold Blood will tell you, I was going hard on Twitter. I was going hard on this channel. I wish they still had my content. Was going hard. Every morning, right? Cold Blood for like what, 3-4 hours. Every morning, I was doing something. Cold Blood was right here with me. He was here with me if there were other people watching or if there weren't other people watching. Right here with me. NRO podcast where Nethos used to be on here. All that stuff was going hard. I couldn't get 1080p 60. I was distraught. Cold Blood had to give me the proverbial slap in the face. Chill out, bro. It's going to be all right. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Man, I can only get 40 frames, man, at 1080p, man. What's going on, man? Chill out. Snap out of it. Ain't that serious? Then came Stadia. Now I'm gaming at 1080p 60 via a browser. No problems. No problems. So my gravitational pull to cloud gaming has always been on its offering of performance that I wasn't getting elsewhere. I respected the convenience. I respected the doorways that it opened for the disenfranchised gamer, but I particularly related more to the offerings that I wasn't getting elsewhere. So that's why it makes sense that after Stadia's demise, I go to NVIDIA GeForce Now because it's continuing that mantra. So I believe cloud gaming has its best opportunity when it shows mainstream gamers where it benefits them in the things that they care about. And quite frankly, mainstream gamers don't care about about saving storage. They don't care. We've told that to them and they're like, so what? I don't mind buying I got my 5 terabyte, they don't care. But if I'm telling them I'm getting better performance and output that you're getting on your, what? You're lying. I'm getting better latency than you too. How is that possible? Because even though the ping from the server to the to my device adds latency to it, the fact that all this computation is happening in the cloud, I'm getting less latency in the cloud than you're experiencing on your machine. And particularly if you're playing a game like Call of Duty, you're playing and all that pinging back and forth from the dedicated server to your machine is adding latency, more latency than I'm getting overall. Digital Foundry discovered it themselves. They were showing you instances where NVIDIA GeForce Now Ultimate provided less latency than native gameplay. It's sick. But NVIDIA's cracked the code. They've cracked it. So that's why I roll with the 1-2 combo of NVIDIA GeForce Now And then PlayStation 5. When them games come out on PlayStation 5, that's where I'm at, baby. Would I love for PlayStation to say we're going to drop our games day and date on NVIDIA GeForce Now? I would love it, but they're not going to do it. So, I got to get a PlayStation 5. All right, that's cool. But that's where I think cloud gaming is best served. Because, again, don't want to take away from helping the disenfranchised gamer. But we need this thing to grow. And it needs to grow out there. So we got to speak the language that the people are at out there. That's why I bring my experience, my pros and cons, and I'm bringing them now to Hard Knock Digital Culture. And again, y'all here, y'all really, like, this is the longest I'll talk about cloud gaming here because y'all don't really care about it. And I get it. But I'm telling you, NVIDIA GeForce Now, that's that lick. I love it. I'm playing Remnant, and you'll see after it. I'll play it, that and Baldur's Gate after this. I'm playing Remnant, 4K, 80 frames at ultra settings. You're not getting that on console. Baldur's Gate is going to play better and look better for me than it is for you on console, period. Sorry. That's where I think cloud gaming outperforms. By showing regular gamers where it suits them best. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, yeah, to your original question, Cold Blood, what's up with PlayStation? I don't know what that means. I think that just simply means that they don't, I don't know. It sounds like to me that there's a game that's coming early calendar year 2024 that might be bumped back to September or the holiday. That's what it sounds like to me. I hope it doesn't mean that Spider-Man's getting bumped back. If that means that Spider-Man's getting bumped back, that's an L. He said X Cloud is the best cloud. What's up, Bulls for Life? What's going on, brother? Good to see you. It says GFN can't compete with the mighty Series S. Man, and that Series S, that's another problem. That was also within the trail of lies that were being told. You know what I'm saying? There's a history that to scale up and scale down. You know how many people bought into that? I'm going to be playing games at 120 frames per second. They didn't realize that the Series S really is only fully functional or appropriately functional as a mid-gen refresh to the 1S. That's really what the Series S can do competently. It's like this a mid-gen refresh to the Xbox One S. That's what it is. This whole 1440p 60 gaming that they talked about. Oh, it's going to give you 60 frames per second gaming just at lower resolution. Like there's another game that I think they just dropped. They're actually going to do it in 4K 30, but it can't do 60 frames per second. Like, come on, man. Stop it. He said Luna is dog-ish. No, I love Luna. I think Luna's pretty good. Luna's pretty good as far as performance. Luna they need better games though. He says, debate them. We're gonna laugh our asses off. You know what? I am gonna do that. I'm gonna bring them on. I think the first one that would come on is D Batch. I think D would be the first, but there's other ones that I know would come on. Like there's one in particular. He wanted so bad to come on one of my Stadia shows, and I was like, bro, your knowledge of cloud gaming is limited. This would be too easy for me. So let's do it later. And then I reached out to this person and I said, you know what? Since the death of Stadia, there's actually a growing and rampant pro Xbox group within the cloud community. And I said, they would love nothing more but to hear you talk to them. And at first he's like, yeah, cool. I'm going to do it. Then later was like, no, man, look, man, it just doesn't make any sense, man. It just, but if I say, look, I want you to come on and debate me. If I were to tell them, I want you to come on and debate me about why PlayStation Plus Cloud is better or not better than xCloud, let's do it. He would come on. He would come on. But to talk to the xCloud supporters as the cloud gaming community, no, he's not going to do that, because that is not a care or concern for Xbox as the company. Some people may like, you're capping him in M2K. Watch, that's what I'll do, just for craps and giggles. And I'm no pro PlayStation Plus cloud gaming. I mean, I haven't really tried it where I'm at. I've heard cool things about it, and then I'm hearing that it's capped at 30 frames per second. So I'm like, nah, I can't get down with that, B. And then, now that they're doing this, so I'm gonna check it out. I have the highest tier of PlayStation Plus, but besides that, man, I'm no real big PlayStation Plus cloud enthusiast. But I'll debate them just to get them on, just to prove my point. So and so, I want to debate you about why. Oh yeah, I'm coming on. Yo, I want you to come on and talk to the cloud gaming community that supports xCloud. I think I got something to do. I'm sorry, that's just the way that it is. So he says, am I the only one thinking Luna is actually worse than all other cloud? Yeah, Sean, let him know, Sean, it is not worse than. He says, I got Final Fantasy 16 on disc, don't know what the F you mean. I can't still play it. I can still play it offline. I mean, that's gonna become the few games. That's gonna be the far and few between games, even single player games, that you can play offline. Most of these games, if not all of them, pretty soon will have DRM, and you're getting more and more of them with DRM right now. I just tested a major game coming that y'all don't know about. It's a single player experience that has DRM. Single player experience with DRM. It's becoming more and more prominent. Baldur's Gate is an exception too. Baldur's Gate is an exception as well. But the way these games work, even if they don't have a multiplayer element, they're having DRM added to them. And if they have a multiplayer element, it doesn't matter if you're like the way it used to be back in the day, Cold Blood. If a game had a multiplayer element, it's just that the multiplayer wouldn't work. Now the whole game is embedded with the multiplayer aspect. So even if you decide to play that game single player, you still can't play it. More and more games are becoming like that. They're merging the multiplayer and the single player experience together. And you're going to have internet in order to play them. Yeah, if you buy, that is true. If you GOG, you get no DRM. But how big is GOG? How many people are buying stuff on GOG? And my comment was in reference not to PC gaming, but to console gaming. More and more of these console games are getting DRM. I played this game on a console. Single player experience. Big ticket game coming down the pike. Had DRM on it. Didn't need it. Frankly, didn't need it. Yeah, I know it's coming bigger and bigger, but you have people like Larian that don't believe in DRM. You have GOG who don't believe in DRM. That's not the way that console gaming is going. PC people are starting to, I won't say it mass. They're working towards having options to step away from DRM, where console gaming is incorporating DRM more and more and more. So when people say, that's why when the majority of the time, and then it's not just the DRM factor, the majority of the games that people play are internet based anyway. That's the majority of the games that they have in their catalog. So when they say, oh, my internet went out and I couldn't play any games, that's what you hear most of the time. I couldn't get on Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus. That's why. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I don't want y'all to go anywhere. I'm going to change this to, because I don't think it's fair. Because we talked, an hour and 40 minutes about everything but this article. So what I'm going to do is, here, let me do this. How did we get, what was the name of that show that I did? See if I can find it. Like, how did we get here with Xbox? Where's my content at? Damn it, where's the channel? All right, here we go. How did I get here with Xbox? How did I get here with Xbox? Okay, part 2. That's what we're going to call this. How did I get here with Xbox? Chapter 2. That's what we're going to call this. I'm going to stop the show after I finish reading your final chats, Cold Blood. In 3 seconds, we're going to start the show over again, and I'm going to get into this Windows Central thing, okay? So I don't want y'all to go. Please don't go anywhere. When I stop this show, it's only to change the what's it called, because it's not fair to have an hour and a half show. I'm gonna stop that. Have an hour and a half show not related to the subject matter. So we're just gonna make this chapter 2 of what's it called. So let's continue to read. He said, Xbox is the worst offender with that ish. Yes, they are. But Cold Blood, you would be disappointed if you knew where I played the game that I tested yesterday. Everybody's adopting it, and it's sad. I mean, I particularly don't like it. I mean, I love open world games, but I just don't understand why you can't segregate my need for online from when I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe it's a technical thing, but you would be disappointed in knowing where this game, and again, it's not the platform's fault. It's how the publisher built the game. But it's coming everywhere. He says they DRM their console to hell. They did. No, they are the worst offenders. You are absolutely right. But it's going to become. But the more and more these publishers embrace that style of game development, it's going to be everywhere. And like PlayStation can't do anything about it if the developer makes it that way. He said, yes, sir. He said, you saw Doc's latest video, bro, losing his mind. He sure as hell is. That was funny. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to go down for a few seconds. Let me bring this back up. Back to Twitter. Here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this actually became a part 2 to or became chapter 2 from our discussion yesterday. Stay tuned for our Windows Central live reaction. Okay. Post that, and then I'm going to post this. This is Join Us Now, Windows. Yeah, but when I was responding earlier, for those of you that are curious, to my homie Stadia Life, he was, oh shoot, I had remarked to the fact that, you know, PlayStation, they put out some more numbers that were put out for PlayStation. And I just frankly said, look, when you have the best games, when you focus on games, quality games first, these are the results that you get. When you stop trying to sell gimmicks that you're not going to land on, and you focus on quality games like how you did in the OG and 360 era. Hold on, I hate this. I said, when you start doing that again, and then all the multimedia and all the gimmicks come after that, then you'll see the same results again. Let me see here. Quick access. No, that's the wrong one. Damn it. Okay. There we go. All right, so we're about to do this. I'm going to close out again. He says, never understood hyping up features but not have. Yeah, I mean, even OG Xbox was never about. Can you imagine if Xbox never had Halo? Like, Xbox I don't even think they would have made it. They had great games, don't get me wrong, but but Halo gave it a reason to continue on. Now, don't get me wrong, Microsoft was trying to really thwart PlayStation taking over the living room, but that effort would have died right there if Halo wasn't. So you got, and they understood that, so they doubled down more on big ticket games, and that's why for me, the 360 generation is the best generation since the Genesis, the Sega Genesis generation. I was a Sega Genesis kid over the Super Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? But people don't realize that, and they're falling in love with the multimedia features, and you know, because I get a lot of people just play multiplats anyway. That's what most people are playing anyway. So who has the best way to play the multiplats? Well, when you have the most players to play with, and the majority of the multiplat games are online, guess what? PlayStation gets it. They're done with the whole, you know what, let's come up with velocity architecture, and let's try to bamboozle you with all these fancy words, RDNA 2 and RDNA 3. Like, PlayStation gets it. The biggest determination of what console you're going to get for the average gamer is, where are my friends? Where are my friends? And for your non-casual gamer friends, the friends that are most likely the most important to your clan or your group on Call of Duty or when playing NBA, those gamers that are more skilled, what are they picking up? Well, they play more games than you, and they're picking up PlayStations because they get the Final Fantasy 16s and the God of Wars. PlayStation understands that. They understand that they kill two birds with one stone. They not only get the critical acclaim that brings them more attention, but they get you, the casual, because you, the casual, 9 times out of 10, you're playing multi online games anyway, and you're playing with the best gamers, or the more hardcore gamers, rather. I'm sorry, and the more hardcore gamers, where they feel like the best games are at, and the best games, critically, are on PlayStation. That's what made Xbox 360 so potent. Because in that generation, the best games were on Xbox. I remember talking to people. I couldn't believe it, the way the Xbox was dominating. All my friends at the time swore to PlayStation 2s. Because, PlayStation had dominated like 150 million consoles to Xbox's, 30 million or something like that. And I remember when the 360 came out, and like people were picking it up mainly in years 2 and year 3. Or no, well, I won't say mainly. That's when it really started catching on, in years 2 and years 3. And I remember talking to friends like, yo, why, that were adamant, that were diehard PlayStation people. I said, Joe, why, you got an Xbox? Yeah, I got an Xbox. Like, what made you convert over to Xbox? Oh, that PlayStation 3 is excuse my French, that PlayStation 3 is ass. Oh, what? Yeah, man. Madden plays trash over there. Call of Duty, that Call of Duty is dope. Call of Duty plays sweet over here. That's all it takes. What? Yeah, that PlayStation 3 is trash, man. Diehards were picking up 360. Diehard PlayStation 3 people were choosing the 360 over the PlayStation. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, man. Xbox 360 is coming out with all the games. Man, you see that BioShock? Yeah, we're going to play that. You see that haze on the 360? Man, that's trash. What about Resistance? That's trash. The only people that were hyping up the PlayStation 3 games early on were the diehards. Nobody cared about Resistance. They cared about them 360 games. And because the best Call of Duty players were playing the 360 games, when the people wanted to play Call of Duty, they was getting the 360. You gotta have an incentive. PlayStation gets it. If you speak to the hardcore, the rest will come. That's basically it. I know people want to downplay and look at this, and I've been doing this for too long. I've been doing this since 2017, almost 7 years now. I've been doing this, right? I started in March of 2017 making YouTube videos and really studying this demographic of gamers, hardcore gamers. And what I've learned over the years is that gamers, There's all these little different quirks and stuff about gamer habits, but it's not necessarily the habits that you pay attention to. You pay attention to what drives them. What drives them to the console is, look, Sony is right. I don't know how successful their games as a service approach is going to be, but they're right that and giving it a look and saying, look, we're going to do better in this area. Why? Because when you look at it, the overwhelming majority of their top 20 games are games as a service. That's why they're doing what they're doing. So when you look at it, the overwhelming majority of your games being games as a service, all right. Well, those are the majority of the games that people are playing. Games as a service. Who do you play games as a service games with? You playing with your friends. Right? You playing with your friends. So if all your friends are on platform A, you're going to pick up platform B? No, you're going to pick up platform A. Now, what is going to drive your friends to platform A? Well, listen, we got to look at their makeup. Like I said, the majority of the time, when you're playing in little groups or clans, you have those gamers that play other games than these games as a service games. Let me ask you, what are these gamers going to play? Are those gamers the top tier gamers within your clan? Are they playing Final Fantasy 16 or are they playing Grounded? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it a buck. Are they going to be playing Wolverine or are they going to be playing Fable? Now, granted, Xbox has potential with Starfield, you know, to really strike. I really think more than anything on PC. But if your friends are console gamers, they might pick up an S for $300. Because look, it's only going to be 30 frames per second anyway, and they'll play it on the S. And they're going to get the cheaper version, and they're not even going. Why? Because I'm not, after this game, I'm done. I'm done with this platform. And we'll see how successful that is when Starfield releases. Like, if Starfield doesn't win NPD, or if Xbox, the month that Starfield releases, if they don't win NPD that month, I think we got our answer. It still doesn't mean anything for Xbox on PC. I really think Starfield has the potential, depending upon how smooth it is. I really think Starfield has the potential to kill it on PC more than anything. They can kill it on both, but we know if it kills it on console. If they win NPD that month, then we know. If it doesn't win, man, oh man. He says losing Bungie is the worst decision Xbox ever made. I will die on that hill. Yeah, if Xbox would have had Destiny, we're having a different conversation about the Xbox One generation. Like, can you, with the power of the 360 and the saturation that it had and how much attention Destiny got, can you imagine if that game was only playable on Xbox One? The conversations are different. But I got to keep it a buck. It was my homie Peter Moore that messed that up. Peter Moore was like, "Nah." He's like, "Y'all ain't making no other game but Halo." He messed that one up for Xbox. Everything else he did was great. That's where we have a different conversation. We have a different conversation if they allow Bungie to make Destiny. Oh well. He says, never PS3 is my most played console of all time. Never had it. Oh, you're crazy, bruh. Oh, man. Wow. You never had a 360? Oh. Oh, man. Yeah, buddy. 360 was it. 360 was it. I love that transformed gaming for me. Mass Effect, BioShock, not having to wait for those games. Fallout 3, even though it was there on the PlayStation 3, their games just didn't, like in the majority of games that were hitting, just didn't play well on the PlayStation 3. They played horribly, had horrible frames, and just did not play great on the platform. Xbox killed it. I loved it. But they can get back to those glory days. Well, here's the thing, Cold Blood. I get where people didn't want to pay for online. And as a kid, I can understand not understanding that. But as someone who worked in IT, I knew the thing that happened with Anonymous and them. That it was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time. I knew that was going to happen. And Xbox's, PlayStation's infrastructure online suffered because of it. It was always down, wasn't reliable. And then they got DDoS to high heaven because of that. Like, you get what you pay for. So I knew that paying online was a necessity for gaming, because you got to have support for that infrastructure. And that's where Xbox really excelled. And that's why you guys couldn't play. Y'all couldn't play online y'all couldn't play period for y'all couldn't play online for 26 days. That's sick. That's crazy. So, but all right, give me a second. Let me redo this. And then we'll be back, and then we're going to talk about this Windows Central article, and then we're going to do some streams. But thank y'all for kicking it with your boy. I wanted to do that part 2. Hopefully you guys appreciated it. Again, bigger conversations being had. Hopefully you guys understand those conversations. And they may not relate to you. They may not hit home for you. That's fine. But you got to understand them, because I think, and this goes for the cloud community. If you want to be relatable at all, so you can help show gamers that this is not some weird cult thing that we're doing over here with cloud gaming. Like, this is a viable way to game. If you want to show that, you got to be relatable, and you got to understand the bigger discussions. So I gave out a bunch of names in chapter 1. Xbox and Pro PlayStation people, and people that just have a preference. Go check them out and listen to those bigger discussions. When you listen to those bigger discussions, then you see my content, then it makes sense. Okay. He was addressing that whole 40 to 50 frame delta thing that was told to a bunch of gamers that swayed them into getting the console, and they're upset about it. Like, what we're about to do right now is we're about to dive deep into this conversation with Windows Central, because they're legitimately saying what I've been saying. Yes, I don't like the Xbox platform. I'm not invested in it anymore, but Jez Gordon of Windows Central is. And he's bringing up something that is a central discussion within the community. This is not, I don't wake up and say, ooh, It's time to hate on Xbox. I see a discussion. I see it being fleshed out. I give my 2 cents on it. And that 2 cents is part of our overall effort. There have been things that have been promised to gamers that have influenced their purchasing choices that really, it wasn't just, oh, we didn't execute on that well. It's not that. They never intended to land on those. They put out something that was grandiose, that would get your attention, and they talk in a way that makes you think that they're trying to be upfront and honest when they're not. Microsoft isn't stupid. They knew that across the board, you were not going to get 120 frames per second in 4K gaming anymore when it came to current gen games. They knew that. They were being told that from the developers, that they didn't want to support the Series S in the first place. But that's what they sold to you. And we're keeping a catalog of that. Why? Because we heavily scrutinize what genre-defining game consumers are being told. They've been bamboozled for too long. And you may not be a fan of genre-defining games, or the quality is fine to you. These discussions aren't being catered for you, but you're more than welcome to listen and opine. But understanding bigger conversations, man. That's what we gamers do. All right, with that said, I appreciate it. Let me take a break. Let me switch this over, and then we'll be right back. All right, until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.